Okay, 34. Sine of pi over 3. First quadrant, that would just equal radical 3 over 2. Tangent of 4 pi over 3. You know what I'm going to do? Just for reference, I'm going to put 30, 60, 90 up here just so you guys can see where I'm getting this from. That's 1, that's 2, that's radical 3, and 45, 45, 90. So that's radical 2, 1, and 1. So tangent of 4 pi radical 3. That is a reference angle of 60 degrees in the third quadrant, so tangent will be negative there. And 60 degrees, opposite over adjacent, would be negative radical 3. Cosecant of 5 pi over 6. That's second quadrant. That is the reciprocal of sine, so sine of pi over 6 would be 1/2, and sine is positive in the second quadrant. And then tangent of 3 pi over 4, that'd be pi over 4 in the second quadrant, so that would be negative 1. Okay? Inverse trig functions, arcsine, cosine, tan, arcsecant. Remember this, not going to be a huge deal in calc this year, but it might come up once or twice. The arc of sine and arc of tangent, remember that the acceptable ranges here are negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. And the acceptable range of cosine is 0 to pi. So if it's for arcsine and arctan, negative would be quadrant 4 with a negative angle measure, and arccosine negative would be in quadrant 2, so that would be between pi halves and pi. So arcsine of negative root 3 over 2, that would be in the fourth quadrant, and that would be a 60-degree reference angle, or pi over 3, so this would be a negative pi over 3. Our cosine of negative 1 over radical 2, also negative radical 2 over 2, that would be in the second quadrant, and that would be 3 pi over 4. Arctan of radical 3, that would be 60 degrees, so in the first quadrant would be pi over 3. And then arc cosecant, which is the same as arc sine of 1/2, that'd be in the first quadrant, so that'd be pi over 6.